council meeting for May 30th. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a second in memory of Andy. Thank you. Roll call.
Councilman Taylor,
Here.
Councilman Whalen,
Here.
Councilman Yangstrom,
Here.
Councilman Ballard,
Here.
Councilman Zipperich,
Here.
Councilwoman Horgan.
Contract statement.
Let the minutes reflect that in compliance with Public Law 1975, Chapter 231 of the Public Meetings Act, the notice of this meeting has been provided by notifying the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and the Star Ledger by placing a notice on the bulletin board and filing same with the Borough Clerk on January 1, 2018.
Thank you. Is there a motion to suspend the regular order of business? So moved. Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we have a number of fun stuff before we get to the real work, and a number of proclamations. The first is somebody that does not need any introduction, who watches over me every single day, my neighbor across the street, our coach, Dale Proc, Dale Proc. So, and, Charlie, would you like to say a few words beforehand?
Sure. This is exciting because this is the most dressed up I've seen Dell in about the 4 years that I've been shaved and khakis and everything. So Dell was awarded in April for the New Jersey Interscholastic Wrestling Association Man of the Year. That award was given to him not just for his passion for wrestling, but he reconfigured the whole tournament. Hosted it as well, and that makes a direct impact on our student athletes, not just today, but going forward for a long period of time. So how about a nice round of applause for that piece first? In addition, he's also kind of our Man of the Year as well. Dell has coached football. This year he did basketball. He does baseball. He organized our entire Wood Bat League. He organized the travel program. He did the Catholics versus something program. He also did our travel program, Wood Bat. He runs our All-Star game. He runs the summer bus. He's on the rec committee. And basically anything you might need, from, hey, can you unlock this, to, hey, Dell, I need a kidney. I've yet to hear him say no for anything like that. So it's a godsend of what he does for this town. Somebody once said, I said, what do you think of Dell? And he said, I wish the Holy Trinity was a quartet so we can add one more guy. So maybe a bit of an exaggeration. With that, do you want to come forward and present the proclamation?
All right. Proclamation reads as follows. Whereas Dale Del Proc has been a vital part of Red Bank's recreation community for many years, and whereas recently Mr. Del Proc realized the need for change in short conference wrestling in order to revitalize both interests and excitement, and was instrumental in establishing a new format which resulted in the creation of the Shore Conference individual tournament, and whereas he became a change agent by getting all of the stakeholders together to create a new vision for a tournament which was a perfect fit for the Shore Conference wrestling community, and whereas Mr. Del Proc arranged to have the inaugural tournament held at his home school, Red Bank Regional High School, which was a very successful, well-attended two-day competition, and whereas because of his dedication, the Jersey Shore Interscholastic Wrestling Association has named Mr. Del Proc as their 2018 Man of the Year. And whereas in addition to his commitment to the sport of wrestling, Mr. Del Proc has been an integral part of the borough's recreation program, coaching several of our basketball and football teams, as well as serving as a valued member of our Borough Parks and Recreation Committee. Now therefore, I, Pasquale Mena, Mayor of the Borough of Red Bank, do hereby commend and congratulate Mr. Del Proc on being named the JSIWA 2018 Man of the Year, and thank him for his dedication to the youth of our community, offer our sincere gratitude for his service, and wish him and his wonderful, charming partner and wife, and children, if they're here, I can't see them. And they're on the ball field, and his wonderful father-in-law, who was our borough attorney for many years, a distinguished Superior and Federal Court judge. Our sincere best wishes to the whole family, our appreciation, and our best wishes. Congratulations. Words of wisdom?
Without trying to get emotional, you're like, I like to talk. Thank God you didn't give me a microphone. Thank you for everybody for being here tonight. If I individually thank you, I know I'll break down and get emotional. But it was a need. The short conference needed something, and we had to step up as a school. All my coaches are here. Some of them had to sacrifice their court time, their own time to do the tournament, and that's helped me to get this. Right now, myself and Coach Ferris are working on a female wrestling tournament for the state. So next up is for the state, for the females to have it, because right now female wrestling is the #1 sport, growing sport in the United States right now. So we're going to have wrestling as a state level. We're going to host it next year. So Steve Timko already nominated for me as Woman of the Year for next year. So I'd like to have you back here next year. Also, since you all are mostly Red Bank residents, next year we're going to go hopefully to referendum in December. So make sure you vote for our kids. Like our old friend Mr. Sickles used to say, we have to do things for our kids like everybody else that everyone else has. So make sure you vote yes next year if we do go to referendum for a turf field. So I'm throwing my political, since I'm standing next to the mayor. I know I have his vote when we bring the garbage out, so I just need all your vote next year. Okay? So thank you very much, and I'm honored. And one last thing, I also want to make sure I thank the mayor, but also for Charlie. As you guys know, being a resident here for the past 15 years, our rec department has stepped up huge in the past few years under Charlie's guidance, so I appreciate all that Charlie does. And I know I can thank him because I won't get emotional for Charlie, but everyone else is
Next, the Gun Violence Awareness Day. We have our friends. I still have the t-shirt.
Oh, good.
And I'm proud, and Red Bank is proud, that we were, I think, when Mayor Bloomberg was in office, he instituted the Mayor's Coalition Against Handguns, and we were, Mayor Booker was the mayor of Jersey City, Newark. The mayor of Jersey City was Jerry Healy, and myself. I think we were the first 3 mayors in New Jersey that signed up, and we still signed a commitment, and I'm signing it tonight once again. So we thank all of you, the Mothers Against Violence, as well as the children who are activists on this role. And we're happy to proclaim once again that whereas every day 96 Americans are killed by gun violence, and on average there are nearly 13,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas Americans are 25 times more likely to be killed with guns than people in other developed countries, and whereas protecting public safety in the communities that they serve is the mayor's highest responsibility, and whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from dangerous people, and whereas mayors and law enforcement officers know their communities best, are the most familiar with local criminal activity, and how to assist it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas in January 2013, Hadia Pendleton, a teenager who marched in President Obama's second inaugural parade, was tragically shot and killed just weeks later, should now be celebrating her 21st birthday. And whereas to help honor Hadia and the 96 Americans whose lives were cut short, and the countless survivors who were injured by shootings every day, a national coalition of organizations has designated June 1, the first Friday in June, as the 4th Natural Gun Violence Awareness Day. And whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Hadia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange, They chose this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods, and orange is the color that symbolizes human life. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 1st, the first Friday in June 2018, to help praise and raise awareness about guns violence. And whereas by wearing orange on June 1, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all that we can to keep firearms out of the wrong hands and to encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our children safe. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I was called Madam Mayor Borough Red Bank, and hereby proclaim Friday, June 1, 2018 as National Gun Violence Awareness Day in Borough Red Bank, and encourage all of our residents to act appropriately, to lobby their elected officials to follow this tradition and encourage others to follow this.
Thank you.
Here.
Let's go take pictures.
No, the youngest one has to come
Oh,
up.
yeah.
And he has orange pants on.
And he's got orange shorts.
We always look for the future, but you know, it's this way, you've got to come up.
Can I get someone to take a picture?
Yeah.
I didn't see. Thank you so much.
The orange pants, good, I didn't see those. Good. Good.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to say something?
Sure.
You never say no.
I'll never say no. I want to thank Mayor Mena and the council for all their support. As he said, he was one of the first mayors to sign in for Mayors Against Illegal Guns. And June 1st, actually through 3rd, there are events in New Jersey. There is a rally on June 2nd, on Saturday in Asbury Park. Wear Orange is to bring attention to the 96 people that die every day at the hands of a gun, and we can all do more to raise awareness and to do more to fight against that. Even in states with very strong gun laws like New Jersey, we can all do more, and we are all touched by gun violence every day, whether directly or indirectly. So thank you again to the mayor, and thank you to the council. Thank you to Moms Demand Action, and thank you to my son who gets up here even though he doesn't want to. Thanks so much.
And lastly, we have our annual Pride resolution and proclamation. And again, Red Bank is one of the municipalities that's been in the forefront of recognition of diversity in all of our communities, and we're proud of that in our school system, as well as our communities and government bodies. And we again, were in the forefront for many years, and we continue to be so. So it is with great pride that Kate Okerson is here, but I will be happy to read it unless our council president wants to read it. Okay, good. Whereas the former Stonewall Inn in New York City, a public establishment frequented by members of the gay community, was the site of the June 27, 1969 uprising that sparked the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender civil rights movement. And whereas the Borough of Red Bank fosters the value and importance of diversity among its citizens and employees, acknowledging that they cut across ethnic, cultural, racial, gender identity, and sexual orientation boundaries. And whereas the Borough of Red Bank celebrates and recognizes the many accomplishments and contributions of its citizens and employees who identify themselves as members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. And whereas in 1993, New Jersey became the 5th state in the United States to ban discrimination based on sexual orientation, and whereas in December 21, 2006, Governor John Corzine signed legislation granting gay couples statutory rights of married couples, making New Jersey the 3rd state to do so. And whereas in 2007, New Jersey became the 9th state in the United States to ban discrimination based upon gender identity and expression, and whereas on October 21, 2013, New Jersey became the 14th state to allow same-sex marriage and the first to do so in the wake of the landmark U.S. Supreme Court decision that struck down the Defense of Marriage Act. And whereas the Borough of Red Bank has taken measures to prohibit discrimination, policies, and practices based on sexual orientation and identity in the areas of employment, housing, and public accommodation, including the adoption of a resolution in support of equality and civil rights for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Americans in July 2009. Whereas I, Pasquale Mayor of the Borough of Red Bank, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2018 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Pride Month in the Borough of Red Bank, and we ask all of our residents to join us in celebrating our diversity. And do we have a flag?
Yep.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, you want to Kate Okerson is the Vice Chair of our Human Relations.
And I'm also grateful to be here on behalf of the organization Make It Better for Youth, which I co-founded with a parent about a decade ago in order to help make these larger strides accessible also to youth. And as the mayor said before, we should be making the future for our kids, which is what we're doing and what Red Bank does every day. Here is the flag.
So, and here's this, and we're going to unfold it. We should, yeah.
Understandable.
Which way is the right side? Yeah,
Nope.
right.
Thank you, Ben.
I'm sorry, Hassan. I need to get my butt here.
Don't take the camera away from Suzanne.
It won't just be
That was
Ben's
a
butt
joke.
that she got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
Look forward to seeing you.
Is there a motion to resume the regular order of business? Second? All in favor? I would like, as a matter of personal privilege, if we can move resolution 18-145 up. I know that Mayor Halfacre is here, and he, I'm sure, has wonderful things he has to do tonight. So, any members of the public have any comments or issues or questions regarding resolution 18-145, which is a resolution authorizing a person-to-person transfer of a plenary retail distribution license number 1340320118 Fondue Holdings to Renegade Fondue Incorporated, and I believe they're having their grand opening reception and fondue dipping on the 19th
God willing.
or so. J.R. Collins only, anyhow.
It's been a long, troubled road to get there.
And Mayor, we're going to have fondue together that night?
I would be delighted to have fondue.
A nonpartisan fondue.
All fondue is nonpartisan.
Is any members of the public have any comments on the place-to-place transfer? Okay. Seeing none, motion to approve, second? Second. All in favor? Mayor, you're welcome to stay, or you can come home.
Sat through too many of these, Mayor. Thank you, though. The new melting pot's going to be a brand new concept, first of its kind in the country. They've redone their entire concept, and this is their test case.
And again, what I said earlier is on the 19th of June, they have called me, and there's going to be a competition by 3 elected officials as to who can eat the most fondue. And the beneficiary is going to be, I believe, one of our health facilities, muscular dystrophy, I think. So I believe Senator Gopal might be participating. I know I'm participating. We have to find a 3rd victim.
I would encourage a bipartisan victim.
Yes, but that's what I'm
I don't believe that's open.
he would win because he can eat more fondue than
I don't
us.
believe that's open to the public, though, Mayor. I don't believe that particular event's open to the public.
Oh, I don't know, but
I just don't want anyone to show up and be denied delicious fondue.
thank you for warning me. Okay, so nothing for workshop approval, the minutes of May 9th, 2018. Motion. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? The appointment, under appointments of Ann Shabatoni to the Library Board of Trustees as a full member for the unexpired 5-year term. She has been extraordinarily gracious, and she has, Ann has been my representative for a number of years, and she works well with everybody. So motion to confirm.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Okay, reports of mayor and council committee members, Michael.
Thank you, Mayor. Finance Committee met on May 17th. We talked about the next steps in our 2018 budget process, which will include our June 13th public hearing and hopefully adoption. So please come out for that June 13th meeting. We also discussed my vision for tracking 2018 expenses versus budget, so that we keep on target as we move through the year. Talk to Ziad about that. I just want to interrupt because I don't think anybody welcomed Ziad officially to the dais. So I want to welcome Ziad Shahadi, our new business administrator. Ziad has great ability. And I hear from everybody in the borough, he's energetic, he comes to work, he never leaves, and he wants to do the best for Red Bank. I think we made it absolute, we killed it with this appointment, and I'm so happy to have him here. Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. So back to my report. So I talked to Z about, putting in place processes to monitor our 2018 expenses against our budget, and also a process for 2019 so that we can get ahead of that process and monitor where we should be as we move forward. And things come up during the year that will roll into next year. We need to plan for that so we can see where our budget could possibly land in 2019. So he had agreed to take on the challenge, and I thank him. We'll be working with Eugene in that process. Our PBA negotiations will begin shortly with a permanent business administrator on board. We can start moving forward with that process, and it's a privacy issue. It's a personnel contract negotiation issue. So there won't be a lot of discussions while those negotiations are going on. At the conclusion, we will obviously let you know that we have reached a settlement with our police officers. Second topic is the Red Bank Regional Bond Referendum that Del Croft briefly touched on during his proclamation. I attended on May 23rd a focus group at the high school conducted by the superintendent, a couple of members from the Board of Education. And Kathy Horgan was originally invited, although all the council was invited, but she asked me to go in her place as the finance chair, and I was happy to do so. So I just want to touch on very quickly some high-level items that came out for me. These are all preliminary. It was a very preliminary discussion. Nothing is set in stone yet. So everything I'm giving you is not the actual fact of what's going to happen. So again, December, they're planning on having a bond ordinance, a referendum for Little Silver, Red Bank, and Shrewsbury. The bond will be between $16 and $18 million to be shared between the three towns. They want to expand the existing facility to add additional classes, along with renovating some of the classes that already exist.
What facility?
I'm sorry? Red Bank Regional High School. As Del mentioned, they want to turf the athletic fields. So it's two different questions, one for the renovations and expansion, and one for the athletic fields. And also to repair or replace the roof at Red Bank Regional, which they say is ending its natural life, or normal life. So there was mention of the 15 sending districts that also go to RBR. It constitutes about 190 kids right now. It's been as high as 240. There was no mention of increased tuition for those students, but again, this is all preliminary, not to say it won't happen. So just have to keep that in mind. They said enrollment is up 18% over the last 5 years at Red Bank Regional to 1,217 students approximately. And the school currently houses about, or the capacity is about 1,200. So they're slightly over capacity and their request for expansion. They expect a 5 to 10% increase over the next 5 years in enrollment from the 1,217 that they currently have. So they do expect growth over the next 5 years. Again, that's their need for the expansion. They ended the focus group by telling us that at the end of June, they'll have concrete numbers and information to share with the public. And I think they're going to start doing road shows to the different towns to talk to residents directly about the referendum. So again, very preliminary, very high level. I don't want, they talked about what their potential tax increase could be, but again, because it's preliminary, I don't want to throw it out and people start running with it as gospel. The last thing, and I was very pleased to hear this, as I was coming down into the chamber, I was told that the Shared Services Summit that I've been talking about over the last few months will be coming to fruition, and it will be hosted by our former business administrator, or interim business administrator, Joe Hartnett, and Mr. Kendra Roberts from GSG. That will happen September 15th at the middle school. So the purpose of this summit, again, is to bring all stakeholders in our local community, the towns, some freeholders, some state level executives and elected officials to Red Bank to talk about how we can share services, streamline costs, what they do better than we do, what we do better than they do, all in the spirit of cooperation and trying to find the best fit for everybody in every district. So again, I want to thank GSG for agreeing to host this on their dime. And it doesn't cost the taxpayer anything, but I think we'll see a huge benefit from it. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed?
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to thank the 077Q1 LGBT neighbors for their annual donation of the Pride flag to be flown over Borough Hall. Thanks, Kate. I wish you a happy Pride and everybody else. There's a resolution on tonight awarding a professional service contract to Walker Associates for the parking study. Firstly, I wanted to thank Chairman Yingstrom and Councilwoman Horgan for working diligently in committee with our parking team on this important endeavor. Walker presented to River Center to the board last week and at their public meeting. And River Center has agreed to partner with the borough on the expenses to undertake this comprehensive parking study. So thank you, Jim and Steve and the entire team at River Center for your willingness to help us undertake this study. There'll be ample opportunities as we go forward with this consulting group that the public will have ample input. And I wanted to also thank Ziad for sitting in with the management team at the DPW meeting last week in lieu of our monthly committee meeting. Everybody really appreciated your coming to the table and talking about what they do on a day-to-day basis. Last Monday was Memorial Day. Charlie did his usual outstanding job at including the school children, religious and fraternal organizations from all over town, and our Memorial Day observance was a good day, even though the weather didn't cooperate fully. Last Wednesday, I represented the borough on stage at the 13th Annual BASI Awards, welcoming students and their families to Red Bank on behalf of the Mayor and Council. And congratulations to Ivana Lamb-Scuderi and Adam Phillipson at the BASI Performing Arts Center, and of course all of the thespians who were nominated and won their BASI Awards. And the T. Thomas Fortune Cultural Center Foundation had a very successful fundraising event last week, so congratulations to their team as well. And that's all I've got.
Kathy?
I have no report, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Eric?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to, like Council President Zippert said, I want to thank everybody for the Memorial Day service this past weekend, including Sergeant Major Scott Lewis, the primary school choir, Red Bank Elks, Father Locke, the Red Bank Fire Department, the Red Bank Police Department, and all the service groups and organizations. Additionally, I wanted to thank Charlie, Michaela Ferragine, and Oscar Salinas for doing a great job in setting up the service. We appreciate the great attendance and the flexibility of moving the program indoors. Also, please register for the Red Bank Classic 5K, which will be held on June 16th, as well as the Broad Street Dash, which is for children. You can still register at redbankclassic.com. And the next toddler music class will be June 9th, 10 a.m. in this room here. If the weather permits, it will be moved to the Riverside Gardens Park. Parks and Rec will keep you posted on that. And Fitness in the Park, part of the summer series, is underway on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. in Riverside Gardens Park. Jazz and movies in the park will begin in July. Thank you.
Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you as well. And nobody yet mentioned Mayor's Ball, but it was a fantastic evening. It's crazy how fast three come and go, and that was the best one yet, Mayor. Also, it was Police Chief Darren McConnell's birthday this past week, so I just want to wish him a happy birthday. Happy he's not here tonight and hopefully celebrating. Mayor, I also want to thank you for a moment of silence. As we're all aware, one of our fire department members in First Aid Squad, Andrew Hill, tragically passed away. And our hearts are broken for his family, his loved ones, the Red Bank Fire Department, the First Aid Squad. He's somebody I've, fortunately over the last 3 years as the fire commissioner, been able to hang out with him a few different times, and each time just moved by his passion for the department. As somebody who always wanted to grow up being a fireman, to see that come to fruition, be able to be a volunteer at the West Side Hose and be mentored and grow into a second family, and to have it all taken is we're at a loss of words. But the fire department, as what I'm told, is being strong, and they're staying together, but very keep Andrew's family in your minds. I know the council will hopefully be at the arrangements as they come out, but somebody who had the first two quick stories about Andrew. First time I met him was my first meeting at the West Side Hose, and the meeting ended and I was there till no one even believed me. The 3 in the morning, it was me, Andrew. We weren't drinking, Mayor, don't worry.
I left at 11. You weren't drinking there.
We were there 3 in the morning, me, Andrew, and one of his best friends, Anthony. We were there throughout the night just talking about the fire department, the future, and the vision that they had as they become the next generation of leaders for the department. And seeing that type of passion, you don't often see that, especially now in a volunteer fire department capacity. The second one is when they were doing the boot drive. I actually passed them. It was 2 members of West Side Hose carrying the boots for donations. They were out there in a scorching hot day, sweating for 10 hours out there, representing just as the cars would go by, collecting money for the house, and the proceeds would go towards the different items that they were trying to build for that house. But to see that commitment, unfortunately, taken so soon is horrible, and our hearts are broken. But a piece of him will always be at that house and at the fire department and the First Aid Squad. So, thank you.
Mark?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. Code Committee met last Wednesday instead of our regular council meeting on 5/23. Continue to work with River Center and our building department on getting data related to vacancies in the upper levels in the city specifically. And we're hoping to have that have an impact on the parking study and our general overall parking understanding as it pertains to the downtown specifically. Also, on the Environmental Commission, Green Team, and Creative Team, we all met this month. We are pushing forward toward silver status for Sustainable Jersey. June 3rd is our first initial submission. It's obviously not the final. We just need to get things in. They critique our submission, tell us where we can remedy things, where we need to tweak it, and hopefully get more points and eventually get to that silver status. I do expect that we will have some ordinances and resolutions coming forth in the next couple of meetings, probably in July, most likely, to codify some of the things, the steps we've been taking to hopefully move the borough forward into some more action and allow us to do some more things that we don't currently have the ability to do. So look for updates on that coming forward, and that's my report.
Thank you. Okay.